Chapter 23. After Dad dropped me off, I traipsed upstairs to my bedroom and fell asleep face down on my bed. Mom came in after a while to tell me it was time for therapy, and I waved her away, promising I'd call Dr. Healer that evening instead. I lied, telling her I'd stayed up too late with Jessica and needed to sleep in a little. But after Mom left, I'd rolled onto my back and found myself staring at the ceiling once again, unable to go back to sleep. After a while, I'd gotten up and asked her to take me to Bia's. "Oh my," Bia said, taking in the look on my face when I walked into the art studio an hour later. "Oh goodness." But she didn't say any more. Just went back to her jewelry making, shaking her head piteously every so often and clucking her tongue. I didn't say anything to Bia either. I just wanted to be left alone. Wanted to paint, to get away from it all. I pulled a blank canvas off the shelf and brought it to my easel. I stared at it for so long I was sure Mom would be back to pick me up and I'd have nothing to show for my sitting here, other than a blank canvas that held 1,000 images for me only. Finally, I picked up a paintbrush and poised it over the palette, unsure what color to choose. "Did you know?" Bia murmured, plucking a shiny green bead out of a box with her fingernails and threading it onto a bracelet, "that some people mistakenly think that all paintbrushes do is paint. How close-minded some people can be." I stared at my brush. My hands suddenly went to work without me, as they'd done so many times before, turning the brush so that the bristles were curled into my palm. I made a tight fist around them. I felt the bristles crush and roll in my fist. I brought the tip of the paintbrush handle to the canvas and put pressure behind it, a little, and then a lot. And then I felt a pop and heard a small tear as the brush poked through the canvas, gouging a hole in the center. I pulled the brush out and looked at it, then did it again, about an inch away from the first gouge. To say I was creating anything in particular would be a lie. I had no thought running through my mind as I worked. I only knew that my hands were moving, and that with each punch through the canvas, I felt an unidentifiable relief pour from me. It wasn't a feeling I was seeking, but something that was being drawn from me. Soon I had 10 slashes in my canvas. I painted them red. I surrounded them with a lot of black, dotted with watery droplets that looked like tear stains. I sat back and looked at it. It was ugly, dark, uncontrolled, like a monster's face. Or maybe what I saw there was my own face. I couldn't quite tell. Was the face the image of something evil? Or the image of myself? "Both," Bia muttered, as if I'd spoken my question aloud. "Of course it's both. But it shouldn't be. Goodness, no." Still, I knew then what I had to do. In a way, Troy was right. I didn't belong. Not with Jessica, not with Megan, definitely not with Josh. I didn't belong at those parties. I didn't belong in student council. I didn't belong with Stacy and Deuce, with my parents who'd suffered so much, with Frankie who made friends so easily. Who was I kidding? I never even really belonged with Nick, because I totally betrayed him, made him think I believed what he believed, made him think I would be on his side no matter what, even if he killed people. Bia was wrong. I was both the monster and the sad girl. I couldn't separate the two. And as I dropped the paintbrush, which clattered to the floor, flicking dots of paint all over the bottom of my jeans, and slunk out of there, I pretended not to hear the encouragement Bia was shouting to my back. Chapter 34. "You can't drop out now," Jessica said. An annoyed little line drew itself across her forehead. "We only have a couple months left to get this together. We need your help. You committed." "Well, now I'm uncommitting," I answered. "I'm out." I shut my locker and walked toward the bank of glass doors. "What is your problem?" Jessica hissed, rushing behind me. For a moment I could almost see the old Jessica shining through, could almost hear her voice echoing, "What are you looking at, Sister Death?" Somehow it made what I had to do easier. "This school is my problem," I said through clenched teeth. "Your asshole friends are my problem. I just want to be left alone. just want to finish and get out of here. Why can't you understand that? Why are you always pushing me to be someone I'm not? I didn't slow down. God, when are you going to get past that I'm not one of you thing, Valerie? How many times do I have to tell you that you are? I thought we were friends. I stopped and whipped around to face her. That was almost a mistake. I felt so guilty. I could see hurt in her face, but knew I had to get away from her. To get away from student council, to get away from Megan, away from Alex Gold, who wanted me gone so bad he had Josh babysit me, and Troy threatened me at his party. Away from all the confusion and hurt. I couldn't tell Jessica the truth about what had happened with Troy at the party. She'd already strong-armed Megan into accepting me. She would probably go breaking down Troy's door and put him under citizen's arrest. I could imagine her making her cause, forcing everyone in Garvin to accept me again, whether they wanted to or not. I was sick of being Garvin's charity project. Always under scrutiny, always in the spotlight. I just couldn't do it anymore. Well, you were wrong. We're not friends. I was only doing this because I felt guilty about the notebook. They don't want me there, Jessica, and I don't want to be there anymore. Nick couldn't stand your little crowd, and neither can I. Her face reddened. In case you haven't noticed, Valerie, Nick is dead. So it doesn't matter what he thinks anymore. And for the record, I don't think it ever did, except for a few minutes in May. But I thought you were different. I thought you were better. You saved my life, remember? I squinted my eyes and peered right into hers, pretending I had confidence to match hers. Don't you get it? I didn't mean to save you, I said. I just wanted him to stop shooting. You could have been anyone. Her face showed no emotion, although her breath started coming in harder rasp. I could see her chest rise and fall with it. I don't believe you, she said. I don't believe a word. Well, believe it, because it's true. You can finish your little student council project without me. I whirled around and continued walking. Just as I was about to reach the double doors, Jessica's voice rang out at my back. You seriously think this has been easy for me? She called. I stopped, turned. She was still standing where I'd left her. Her face looked funny, almost withering with emotion. Do you? She dropped her backpack on the floor and started walking toward me, steadily, one hand on her chest. Well, it's not. I still have nightmares. I still hear the gunshots. I still see Nick's face every time I look at you. She had begun crying, her chin wrinkling like a little kid's, but her voice was steady and strong. I didn't like you before. I can't change that. I've had to fight my friends to include you. I've had to fight my parents, but at least I'm trying. Nobody told you to try, I said. Nobody said you had to make me your friend. She shook her head wildly. You're wrong, she said. May 2nd told me. I lived, and that made everything different. You're crazy, I said, but my voice was wobbly and uncertain. And you're selfish, she said. If you walk away from me now, you're just plain selfish. She got within just a few paces of me, and all I could think about was getting out of there, whether that made me selfish or not. I plunged through the doors and into the open air. I fell into Mom's car and sank back into the seat. My chest felt heavy and cold. My chin spasmed, and my throat felt full. Let's go home, I said as Mom drove away.